his teeth until after he was a year old. In fact, it was a year and 1 week old. I think a little better when we found his first teeth. Well, I was afraid that he wasn't going to have no teeth because I had had surgery and my health had just been so bad, and they told me I couldn't have no children when I was pregnant even with him. They told me I couldn't have any more children. And then in 5 months and 2 weeks after my surgery, he was born. And anyway, let's see what I was going to tell you about that. You just left me that quick.
Well, I'm glad to know, because I have those moments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's the first senior moment you've had in 3 days.
When I found his first tooth, I put him in the car, and I drove over to Mr. Lastinger's right quick, because Mr. Lastinger would pick him up every day and take him to the beer part of it we owned, and they'd both get a Coca-Cola. And then he'd walk back to our house and take Sam back. So, but that day I put Sam in the car, and I drove right real fast up to the house with Mr. Lastinger sitting on the edge of the porch. And I said, "Oh, guess what? Sambo's got a tooth." Well, Miss Lastinger was out in her backyard milking the cow back there in a little pen. And he started hollering, "Gertie, Gertie," and still sitting on the porch, just a hollering Gertie. She come a running, and she set the pail of milk down and just come running around the house. And he said, "Sambo's got a tooth." She said, "Jack Lastinger, I ought to kill you." She'd run, and she was just hassling for breath. You know.
Because she thought something was wrong. And
yeah,
all
yeah.
it was Sambo's tooth.
Got a tooth.
Does Sammy know that story?
Yeah.
Okay.
But now, Mr. Lastinger liked catfish stew. And they had catfish stew once a week. And he liked for Sammy to go over there when they had catfish stew. And Sammy would stand right by his knee. Mr. Lastinger would take a spoon of the soup. Then he'd give Sammy a spoon of the soup.
Celebration.
And he would try to give Jimmy some, and Jimmy would pooch on his lip and spit it out. He wouldn't take it. And so Mr. Lastinger would say, "Sambo's my man, Sambo's my man." And Sammy just worshipped him. I mean, he wasn't but 2 years old. Oh, he may not have been quite two to begin with. But then the night before he died, we went over to their house, and Mr. Lastinger had Miss Lastinger get a pan of water and a cloth in it, and let Sambo wash his feet. And Sam sat down there, and he put his feet in that pan of water, and I reckon Sam washed his feet for over an hour. Just, you know, dipping the water up on his feet. And then we spent the night there that night, and Sebring went and set up at somebody across the street that was dead, and there lived right in front of where that Lastingers lived. And the next morning when he come in, I had slept in my slip. And so he said, "Well, y'all ready to go?" And Mr. Lastinger had got up on the bed, sat up, and I heard him say, I could see through their room, there wasn't no doors. That door was open, but no doors closed. And he said, "Girl, you need to go get my medicine," and he was coughing bad. And Miss Lastinger said, "Okay," and she had to go out and go down the hall to get to the kitchen where his medicine was. And as Sebring came in the bedroom, Mr. Lastinger started going backwards and slipping off the bed, and Sebring called him. And he was dead before Miss Lastinger got back. But Sebring screamed, "Get the doctor." I ran all the way across the street
Can't remember what she did.
and down to the corner where the doctor lived, in my slip, holding my
Throw it
dress.
in the floor because
And when I got to Dr. Smith, they was real close friends to me.
Girls cancer free.
He said, "You better put on your dress."
And why did you have your dress?
Because she was in a panic. She was
Yeah, I had my
rushing.
panties and my slip. and
She just
all.
hadn't had time to get dressed.
But Sebring just
I telephoned this
got
something's
up,
wrong
you
with
know.
this
I mean,
flow.
Mr. Lastinger raised up, and Sebring had just come in, and Mr. Lastinger was going backwards, slipping off the bed. He was dying, you know.
I put it up and
And
everybody in there.
Sebring caught him, so he died in Sebring's arms, and was buried on Father's Day.
Where were the kids?
They were all in the bed. I shit
Watch
you.
pot never boils.
But the other children wasn't there.
They weren't there.
No, when-
Inez and Lindsay. And
Yeah. When did Granny Lastinger die? Like, what year? I can't remember. Well, I was 10. No, so she died in 58.
Uh-huh.
That Sammy said
Okay.
right here last night, we didn't give him
Yeah.
That was the worst day, I believe, that I've ever witnessed.
He knows they're.
In weather. It was sleet, the wind was a-blowing, and we had the funeral there at the Assembly of God, and then drove out to Red Bluff for her to be buried. And they couldn't stand to be out there at the grave to have, you know, it was just hard. They wasn't but just a handful that went out there to the grave, mostly just the family. And
Yeah, I'm not sure the children even went.
That's
I don't
budget
think so.
senior
I don't remember
citizens
going.
that goes up in-
I remember being at your house, but I don't remember going to the cemetery.
I don't think that any of them went.
It was probably because of the weather,
Yeah.
and we just left the
Tommy
children
was pregnant
behind.
with her first child,
I'm
so
gonna see if I can.
she went back to the house. She had
Yeah.
fell or turned her leg or something. I believe I see Sammy coming in.
Is that Mary coming or just Uncle Sam?
I don't know. Maybe just him.
Let me get him on video.
Hey, Uncle Sammy.
Well, here comes the toothless wonder.
We've heard about your first two. Got a picture.
You
That
do.
was one I told Betty I found that I didn't know who that was with her.